Six players overall selected in the same WNBA draft. Charlize Leger-Walker was a second-round pick of the Connecticut Sun. The record night for the UCLA women's basketball program comes 8 days after winning their first national championship. UCLA's first-round picks: Lauren Betts taken at number 4 by the Washington Mystics. Gabriela Jaquez at number 5 to the Chicago Sky. Kiki Rice at number 6 to the expansion Toronto Tempo, Angela Dukalik at number 9 to Washington, and Gianna Neekins at number 15 to Connecticut. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And I am particularly honored that a very close and dear friend of mine is going to be joining me for the hour. But before I mention his name and introduce him, I want to at least set the framework for my questioning of a man whom I have great respect for, who I think is capable of at least providing some clarity and some guidance on whether or not our organizations, as we know them, are equipped to handle this hour, and whether or not we are just reactionary, and or what the planning actually is within our own communities to confront the challenges, and I mean every single one of them, that confronts our nation at this hour. In the past, I have previously opined on the idea, and it became even clearer to me when I was at the National Action Network conference, listening to each of the presidential contenders who potentially seek the Democratic nomination for president of the United States. And I was deeply concerned that the emphasis was essentially on their personalities, all of them extremely bright, all of them extremely capable, nothing negative to say about men and women who are putting their names on the line to lead this great nation. But I'm equally concerned that when we vote for personalities and not always vote for a new direction. And so I opined in the past on this show about the idea that we need more than a personality. We need an event. An event. We need an event. And why do I say an event? There are memorable events in our lives. Some of us remember the day we graduated from high school. Some of us remember the greatest concerts we've ever attended. Some of us remember the day we met the loves of our lives. These are significant events that turned the page in your life, in my life, in our lives. There are meaningful events in American history that too turned the page and changed the trajectory of our nation and set us on our present course. In a real sense, from July 4th, 1776, through the writing of the Constitution to the present, these days are always coming, they're always evolving, and the day that we put our foot down, or if my father were here, the day we stood up, becomes the day that turned the page in American history. I think in world history, there are such events. The event of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, for example, and his ministry is a dividing line in time between Anno Domini, or in the year of our Lord, to BC, or from BC, before Christ, to Anno Domini. It's a dividing line. Everyone's birthday is set by that date. 250 years after the birth of our nation, there had been nearly 1,776 Christmases to which the nation stopped and reflected upon this ministry. And so the nation, while it is new, the idea of turning the page in history is not. When we think about the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, while our people may have been in chattel slavery and women may have been denied basic human rights, including but not limited to the right to vote, and they certainly are still in a great struggle for equality, against the backdrop of every civilization that has ever grown, created, and even fallen and declined in human history, the idea of America is a new idea against that backdrop. America is a turning page. It is a page turner, because before representative government, there were more kings, czars, dictators, Führers, tyrants in human history than the people themselves had the opportunity to elect a president, elect a senate, elect representatives, and through that process, the appointment of federal judges, the election of governors and elected officials at every single level of government, including dog catcher. America is a new idea, a page turner against the backdrop of human history. When we think about the Bill of Rights that we oftentimes take for granted, the idea of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, the idea of the right to our own religious points of view, whether we're Abrahamic in that Muslim, Judaism, or Christianity, or atheist or agnostic, not knowing, the idea that we can live in a society where we can choose what we want to believe, when we want to believe it, and how we want to believe it, is a turning point where we're not punished for what we believe. We don't burn women at the stakes. We don't call them witches and hold trials against witches, and we don't lynch Black people anymore. At least we ought not lynch Black people anymore. And there is lynching that still occurs in the United States, albeit it's oftentimes not talked about in the news. America still is an idea that turns the page. And so when I think about African American organizations, many of which came into existence during the Jim Crow era, the NAACP, our oldest organizations, where W.E.B. Du Bois and others gathered to invite this idea that colored people needed an organization for its advancement. I think about whether or not our organizations are keeping up in this end of Second Reconstruction that we are experiencing with the times, and are they changing to address these significant issues? When we come forward, David Day is the executive director of the Emmett Till and Maybe Till Mobley Institute and chairman, former board member of 100 Black Men of Chicago. He served as chief operations officer for the National Rainbow Push Coalition and has been involved in civil and human rights most of his life. I'm interested in hearing from David, who's attended the National Action Network conferences as well, as to whether or not our organizations are keeping up. When we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, we're going to have a conversation about whether or not we are tooling our organizations to meet the current hour. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait. And don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I need a little range, step to the range.
There's a new flavor in town, the Jalapeno Ranch Club at Chick-fil-A. With that juicy Chick-fil-A original spicy or grilled chicken, a buttermilk ranch bun, candied bacon, pepper jack cheese, and jalapeno ranch sauce. It's got big ranch vibes with a little heat. Chick-fil-A's new Jalapeno Ranch Club, available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
My very special guest in this hour is none other than David Day, who served as Vice President of Development and Foundation Board Directors member at Chicago State University, giving him a broad range and broad breadth of knowledge about the inner workings of our legacy organizations and the importance of education that undergird them in all communities and all of society. David, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, thank you so much for having me on, especially at this time and under these circumstances. It is certainly an honor to be with you on your program.
David, I'm so grateful that you're here. I posit the thesis that we need an event. We need an event in American history that relegates the present period of chaos to the history books so that we can move forward. We need a dividing line that separates the old from the new, the past from the present, and the future. We need to turn the page. David, how do we get there?
And first, let me talk about the word event. And I think that we need to understand how powerful that is. As the director of the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley Institute, the event was when Mamie said, "Let them see." Let them see what they did to my baby. Now, if she had had that funeral with a closed casket, it just would have been another Black child that was lynched in America. But when she said, "Let them see," that really was the first Black Lives Matter event. I think that our challenge too often is that our events tend to be dramatic, so I think that, whether it's George Floyd or Emmett Till, Dr. King being assassinated, those become the events that we rally to. But I think that we should not wait for those type of catalysts for us to get going, because, Jesse, if we don't get going, we're going to be left behind, because things are moving fast.
David, the murder of Emmett Till was such an event. In fact, it is reported that Rosa Parks said, when asked the question, "What were you thinking when you sat down on the bus?" And Rosa Parks' response was, "I couldn't get Emmett Till off my mind." Mamie Till Mobley put her son with an open casket and a brutality that we had never seen before, that was enough to turn the stomach of just any person about the brutality of segregation in the South and the absence of civil rights protections. It was a page-turning event. I'm looking for an event, David. I don't know if it has to be immersed in such a tragedy,
right?
But if, in fact, there is a human event, are our organizations in a position to be able to help create the event that turns the chapter?
I think, Jesse, the first challenge, and I'm going to use a term that Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. coined, the coalition. I think when we talk about Black organizations, I think we are on the same highway and we're heading in the same direction, but we are in different lanes. And I don't know that we are coalescing around the same thing, whether it's voting, whether it is, health, mental health, whether it is just learning the technology, and how are we as a community going to wrap our brain around AI. So what I found the challenge to be is for the organizations to coalesce, using that term. I learned from my mom, there's 3 levels of relationships. The first level is dependency. The child is dependent on the parent for food, a roof over the head, change that diaper. And that second level is where every parent can't wait till their child gets to. It's called independence. Feed yourself, go to the bathroom, get a job, and leave the house. But the third level is interdependency, where we can count on and rely on each other. At one time, Jesse, we had no choice because we were all we had, and we had to be able to count on each other to survive. And I think that we may have lost that. When you look at other communities here in Chicago, you don't see Hispanics asking for loose change in the Black neighborhood because you're cutting all our grass. You don't see Arab Americans asking for loose change in front of the gas stations because they own them all. You don't see Indian Americans asking for loose change in front of Dunkin' Donuts and Subway because they own them all. So they do it collectively. So as Black organizations, again, back to the word that your father coined, the coalition piece of it is where we need to start. And then identify, what is the goal and how do we all get there, and what do you as an organization bring to us getting to that particular goal? So I don't know if it has to be a plebiscite or whether it has to be an event where we all come together and work things out, talk things out. As you know, I'm with Emmett Till. I'm also chairman of the board of the 100 Black Men of Chicago. But prior to that, I was the chief operations officer for the National Black MBA Association. So I'm kind of immersed in the Black organizations, but we surrounded ourselves with ourselves, in every organization I've been in. And, how do we come together, multiple different organizations with different goals and different objectives and different ways of getting there, and try to tackle this collectively?
It's impossible. And I cited these examples at the beginning of my opine. It's impossible to imagine the world before Jesus. It's just impossible. I mean, the idea of a stoplight, a red, yellow, and green light, where we have to respect our neighbors who are going in a different direction.
Right.
The light is the signal that you wait, they go, you pause, and stop. That's the turning point in traffic, in order of civilization. A turning point for Black people constitutionally, obviously, is we can talk about slavery all we want to, but the turning point is the 13th Amendment. Right. We're not going back that far, unless, of course, you live in South Carolina, where Jim Clyburn said just this week that he met with some MAGA people in South Carolina who said they want to bring slavery back. But they can only go so far because the 13th Amendment is sitting there, and it divides the old order from the new order. You can say whatever you want to say about immigrants, but the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, is a turning point. Before the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, there'd be mass deportation of Negro people back to Africa. There simply would be, unless the 14th Amendment established a citizenship right, and specifically for the descendants of slaves and those who were here. It's a turning point.
Absolutely.
The 15th Amendment's a turning point. Are you aware of any organization in the country that is prepared to or has advocated for a turning point to separate the present chaos from what we are presently experiencing to a new order that will create future thinking that will not go back to where we are right now, but envisions a bright and a more shining future in the direction of coalition? Are any of our organizations tooled to do that?
Right now, Jesse, I don't see it. And it doesn't mean that it can't happen, and it doesn't mean that it won't happen. But clearly, there needs to be a plan. You can have a plan and you can have faith. A plan without faith is useless. Faith without a plan is misguided. But having that plan is what's critical, because the question, would be, what's the North Star? Where are we trying to go? What are we trying to achieve? And right now, I think that too many of the organizations are within their own universe. And especially with the person who is in the White House now, they're in survival mode. The 100 Black Men of Chicago, I would say 95% of our revenue comes from us doing events and getting corporate support. Corporations feel real comfortable with saying not this year. And same with other organizations that I am and have been affiliated with. So, we face that challenge that we are now in the survival mode of just trying to stay alive and to start to thinking about, hey, how do I think 10 years out? And they're trying to think 10 days out. So it's a challenge, but I guess my point is it's not insurmountable. We've seen, and we've as a people gone through so many things that was impossible until we did it. So I think that what's going to have to happen is just, again, we're talking about coming together, a coalition or coalescence of the leaders of the organizations to put together a plan. You can have the faith, as I said before, but you need a plan. And but I don't see that happening at this very moment, and that's so unfortunate.
I'm profoundly concerned, and I was just thinking in this moment about 3 major turning points that were tragic. The assassination of John F. Kennedy. I was 2 years in the making. I was born in 1965. He was assassinated in 1963, I believe it was. And even though I wasn't even alive, to this day, I feel some kind of way about the assassination of John F. Kennedy and what could have been. I feel some kind of way about Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination in 1968. I would have been 2.5, maybe 3 years old at that time. Those are negative events. The death of Bobby Kennedy and the possibility of what could have been were certainly turning points in this political party's thinking that largely are responsible for the trajectory of the Democratic Party. I would never wish this negative event on anyone, assassination or the death of Emmett Till. I certainly found the attempts even on our present president's life twice to be abhorrent and outside of civil discourse. I can't say it any better, wrong as hell. Yep. But the greatest fear, of course, for me would have been the martyrdom of Donald Trump. The consequences of the martyrdom of Donald Trump would have been worse than allowing him to make all of the mistakes he's presently making so that we can make the necessary changes to save the republic in the post-Donald Trump era. So stop the violence. Stop the political violence. That's not the turning point. Even the death and the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. It is not the way to do this. But there are events in our history that the Negro is responsible for, not in the negative, in that it picked up arms and hurt somebody, but in the positive, because we took a stand. Because we took a stand together. And in this moment, I know we have just a couple of minutes before we come forward. I don't know why we don't see, David, voter registration and voter participation as the potential for such a turning point. I say that because if I were the pastor of the tens of thousands of churches in this country, there ought to be assigned somebody in that church who is responsible for 100% voter registration in the church. Pastor, make that happen. Don't your church be the only one with some members unregistered. Find a way to preach that. There ought not be a single high school student in this country, 17 years or older, many of whom have to get ready for the draft, whose principal, whose teachers are not registering them to vote and explaining to them the importance of the vote and the 26th Amendment, which allowed 18-year-olds to vote. I can't imagine an undergraduate sorority or fraternity on a college campus anywhere in the United States that has this party here and that party here and who we gonna let in without having a voter registrar at the front door saying you're not coming in unless you're registered to vote.
Right.
Including in every dorm across this country. The turning point in our present process is the midterms. Because these midterms can determine the trajectory of American history and ultimately the world history. I'm deeply concerned. Our very special guest in this hour is none other than David Day. David Day is an undergraduate degree from Chicago State University and an MBA from the University of Illinois here in Chicago. He is an expert in African-American organizations. I'm grateful for his leadership and I'm grateful for his guidance and tutelage today. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Nearly 2 weeks after Black Coral Springs, Florida Vice Mayor Nancy Mateo Bowen was killed in her home, the City Commission is meeting for the first time. Commissioner Joshua Simmons says her empty chair will weigh heavily, but she would have wanted the city's work to continue.
We still have a duty to do.
Bowen's husband, Stephen Bowen, is charged with first-degree murder and is being held without bond. A Tennessee man is facing up to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to setting fire to the Highlander Education and Research Center, a historic civil rights site. Prosecutors say Reagan Prater was motivated by white supremacist ideology, and the attack caused more than $1 million in damage. And Usher and Chris Brown are teaming up for a stadium tour this summer. The R&B tour starts June 26th in Denver, hits more than 30 cities across North America, and wraps December 11th in Tampa. Pre-sales begin April 23rd, with general sales starting April 27th. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you need to lose 50 pounds or more and diets haven't worked, you're not alone. West Medical offers physician-guided weight loss consultations to help you understand your options. Most PPO insurance plans are accepted and they verify your benefits for free. Call 1-800-WESTMED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The UCLA women's basketball team had a historic night Monday in the WNBA draft. 5 UCLA players were selected in the first round. No school in the 30-year history of the WNBA draft had that many players chosen in the first round. UConn had the previous high for first-round picks with 4 players selected in 2002. UCLA is also the first school to have 6 players overall selected in the same WNBA draft. Charlize Leger-Walker was a second-round pick of the Connecticut Sun. The record night for the UCLA women's basketball program comes 8 days after winning their first national championship. UCLA's first-round picks: Lauren Betts taken at number 4 by the Washington Mystics, Gabriela Jaquez at number 5 to the Chicago Sky, Kiki Rice at number 6 to the expansion Toronto Tempo, Angela Dukalik at number 9 to Washington, and Gianna Neekins at number 15 to Connecticut. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa,
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, LA. Tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelinos for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Big Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Can we just talk?
You've heard me say it before, how we talk to one another matters. Earlier this year, we launched our first cohort, and I'm grateful to those who leaned in early and helped to shape the work. Now I'm inviting you to join me for a new live seminar, The Practice of Dialogue, Becoming a More Effective Communicator. This is a small group experience designed to help you strengthen how you communicate in your work, your relationships, and your everyday life. Space is limited to keep the experience personal and interactive. So if you're ready to take your communication to the next level, now is the time to focus on the skills that make conversations meaningful. The new 4-week cohort begins Monday, May 4th, and there's a nice discount for early bird registrants. Visit TavishTalks.com to learn more and reserve your place today. That's TavishTalks.com, because better conversations don't just happen, we practice them.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Polly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest in this hour is David Day, Executive Director of the Emmett Till and Maybe Till Mobley Institute and Chairman of the Board of the Directors for 100 Black Men of Chicago, Inc. David, welcome forward to our show.
Thank you again, Jesse. Thanks for having me.
David, I've been engaged in every presidential campaign since my father first ran in 1984 in some capacity. That's a lot of presidential campaigns. I have traveled to every state in this union, along with my father, and many times without my father, registering people to vote. And even when I do work in other campaigns, whether it's Dukakis or whether it is Gore or whether it is Obama or whether it was Biden or whether it was Kamala Harris, I've spoken at dozens of NAACP events. I've spoken in Black churches all across the country and even developed my own preaching rhythm. And even though I'm a seminary graduate, I don't consider myself to, but I'm not a bad one. But I'm always on the Chitlin circuit. And one of the interesting things about my dad was while he is given great credit for registering lots, literally millions of people to vote, and specifically and more importantly, or just as importantly for his base, Black people to vote, Dad registered a lot of white folks to vote. My father standing in front of white people, registering them to vote and encouraging them to vote and see a new direction for this nation was a factor in his success.
Right.
So when the voter registration money does show up, and it eventually will, they send all of the Negro leaders and Negro surrogates to the Chitlin circuit to speak in the churches, like Negroes need to hear one more time why they need to vote. Some of them do. Most of them do. Many of them don't. But rarely do we see an African-American leader or organization registering white folks to vote who are disaffected, disinherited, locked out, left behind, and not part of this process. And that's the only way to win statewide. That's the only way to get 270 electoral votes. And every Black in Chicago, California, New York could vote. Georgia could vote, and the Carolinas could vote. And all of those states by themselves could vote and probably pull off in the populous states more votes and still not get 270 electoral votes, because this is not a majority vote contest. It is a contest for the most states, like Nebraska, like Colorado, like states where we don't live, to get them to see things the way we see things, and to identify our cause with their cause. David,
Your father,
is there a Black organization anywhere who thinks like that?
Again, I think too many are in survival mode, but I think that the history of going back to that term and going back to coalition, your father, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., he made the secret sauce of coalition. When he was running for president, you would see him with farmers, and you would see him with people who worked in coal mines. He understood that they were suffering. They knew they were suffering. He wanted them to know that he knew they were suffering, just like the people in his community. And I think that kind of to your point, how do you bring that all together, understanding that if you lose by one vote, you lost?
I got this theory, David.
Yeah.
I got this theory. Jesse Jackson Sr.'s Black credentials were so heavy from what he did in the schools, what he did in the civil rights movement, the truth and the true nature to which he stayed to his cause. Our community gave him the latitude to go to a coal mine.
That's right.
To milk a cow.
That's right.
To pick the feathers out of a chicken.
Yes.
To ride a tractor with white farmers.
That's right.
When Jesse Jackson did that, he wasn't losing nothing on the black side of town. On the black side of town, we saw him as expanding.
That's right.
But he was true to who we were.
That's right.
And we got a lot of candidates who run for office who are not true to who we are. So we don't even trust them when they talk to white folks. Because when they talk to white folks, they don't talk to white folks the same way they talk to us. Because they have no credentials in the Negro experience, in the lived reality of black people that they have to earn so that we can go in a coal mine and meet some folk with black lung disease who also need the Affordable Care Act, so we can go to some of these chemical plants and organize white workers at chemical plants who also need the Affordable Care Act, and so forth and so on. Are you walking with me, or am I talking to myself?
No. And when you talk about the fact that too many black leaders, politicians, they think that they getting their card stamped when they show up at a black church and speak, but they're not in a food line helping to feed people. They're not in a line helping to clothe people. There is no sacrifice being made other than going to the church and talking. But when they go out to the farm, they're, like you said, they'll talk to them, they'll bale some hay to say, hey, I'm with you. So I think that it is going to be a challenge, Jesse, to identify in our community a leader of leaders like your father was. He was able to take a look at what the future could be and should be based off of everyone being able to not only participate, but benefit from all of that, the benefit from because again, back to your point, when we're talking about losing health care, we're talking about everyone losing health care. And when you look in some of the southern communities, they're losing hospitals. Their hospital drive is 2 hours away. And we're talking about a young mother about to go into labor. That's a 2 hour drive. So your father was able to visualize that. So the question now, Jesse, is how can we have that bridge in the communities where there are like problems, but there may very well be different solutions, but there are like problems, and having someone that is a visionary. I'm not seeing it, and unfortunately, that's going to be. And right now, we're in a bad spot as a country, but I think we're also we're at a seminal moment. We're at a seminal moment where we technically midterm can take over the Congress, can take over the Senate, and quash some of this stuff that's happening. But it's more than just stopping stuff. How do we start stuff?
Yeah. I think that's important. We have to be for something, David. We just can't be against everything. And I want to hang around this bona fides in the black community, though. The black community bona fides allows us to reach out.
Right.
You don't have black bona fides in the black community. If you don't know where the local shoe shine shop is, where the brothers are still wearing 1970s, late 60s clothing, if you don't know Ball Shine, if you don't hang out at the Stepper Set, if you don't have a black church isn't something you show up to during election season, or when you getting ready to run, symbolically identifying with black people, or just holding a flag saying, hey, I'm black. Saying I'm black ain't the answer either.
Or Jesse standing in line at Limbs in the rain.
Yeah, for some barbecue ribs and some rib tips, or speaking the vernacular, if you will, the black folk. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And one of the geniuses of Jesse Jackson, I know will be coming forward in just a moment, is that he made every black person who worked for a white candidate for president important. Because Jesse was running, every white candidate needed somebody black to introduce them to somebody in the black community. Reverend didn't have that problem. We didn't have that problem in the Rainbow Coalition. Wasn't nobody else to work directly with other than Reverend Jesse Jackson, because we didn't need a black ally on the staff to work the black. Jesse Jackson had that covered. He had already worked that, so we could spend our time at the farm. We could spend our time at the coal mine. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk, and David Day, our special guest, when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
From station to stage, LA Metro connects you to the artistic heart of Los Angeles. Celebrate this National Arts Month with Metro, exploring galleries, theaters, and cultural spaces across the city. Art isn't just where you end up, it's how you get there.
Hey, LA, tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelinos for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Can't we just talk? You've heard me say it before, how we talk to one another matters. Earlier this year, we launched our first cohort, and I'm grateful to those who leaned in early and helped to shape the work. Now I'm inviting you to join me for a new live seminar, The Practice of Dialogue, Becoming a More Effective Communicator. This is a small group experience designed to help you strengthen how you communicate in your work, your relationships, and your everyday life. Space is limited to keep the experience personal and interactive. So if you're ready to take your communication to the next level, now is the time to focus on the skills that make conversations meaningful. The new 4-week cohort begins Monday, May 4th, and there's a nice discount for early bird registrants. Visit TavishTalks.com to learn more and reserve your place today. That's TavishTalks.com, because better conversations don't just happen, we practice them.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download that.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. In this hour, our very special guest is David Day, the Executive Director of the Emmett Till and Maybe Till Mobley Institute and Chairman of the Board of Directors for 100 Black Men of Chicago. David also served as the National Black MBA Association as its Chief Administrative Officer. He's an expert in Black organizations. David, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, thank you again for having me.
David, I saw something very unique at the National Action Network under Reverend Sharpton's leadership. First of all, we know who Al is.
Yep.
Right? George Floyd's funeral, Ahmaud Arbery's funeral, a resume on the Black side of town that is so deep that it's only matched by the decades of service to whom he modeled his own service after by Reverend Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson did not miss a Black funeral, a police brutality event, used to be called someone who was chasing ambulances and looking for fires when he picked up the newspaper every day, which I found particularly insulting, but that's what they said about my dad. But he had Black bona fides. But at the same time, I saw Reverend Al, other major organizations or conference compel and command sit-down interviews with each of the Democratic potential presidential candidates, which is a huge breadth that every one of our organizations should have. In fact, I would imagine during the season that upcoming is an NAACP convention, a Southern Christian Leadership Convention, an Urban League convention, all of these 100 Black Men convention. I'm wondering, are these organizations extending invitations to these candidates to come and address the issues at our respective conferences the way I saw them at the National Action Network? Is that happening?
You know, and I would say, Jesse, I'd say that some are making the attempt to do that. I know the 100 Black Men of America is making that effort. You know, they have been around for over 60 years, and they are making that effort. I think that one of the things that Reverend Al has in his favor is everybody knows who Reverend Al is. The average African-American could not name the president of the Urban League, could not name the president of the the NAACP, could not name the president of some of the larger Black organizations.
David, how do we have presidents of Black organizations that Black people don't know? The bona fides aren't like, are they missing the funerals? Are they missing the opportunities that allow the Black community to identify with who they are? So when they come back and ask us to vote, we know that they are part of like what Reverend Al is part of or like what Reverend Jackson is part of.
Right. Yeah. And I think that is kind of one of the issues that kind of is outstanding is, the tactics that they're using, in my opinion, are just not going to get the results. You know, a lot of them, as I said before, they're not taking advantage of who they are and where they are in the moment. And to your point, being out there, being seen, being heard, so that when Reverend Al can pick up the phone and talk to these to these presidential candidates, he's got your cell phone numbers. You know, and you know, with me working with your father, I had their cell phone numbers. So I don't know that the leaders of the other organization have that ability to get directly to the person who you want on the stage. They may have to go between 3 and 4 and 5 people just for them to say, yeah, we'll see. So that is a challenge, based off of my experience in some of the Black organizations that are out there now.
I am grateful, David, that you have been our very special guest on this program. David, what is the path forward for us from your perspective?
I think, again, back to your dad's secret sauce, we need to come together. That's the main thing. I think that as Black organizations, you even talked about the Black church, and you talked about voting. Your dad actually had me work on a project, and I think you remember the 1,000 Churches Connected, where we put together a strategic plan, and we called it first Register the Faithful. So that was the first phase of it. The next phase was teach the power of voting. The next phase, remember Souls to the Polls? So it's going to be Souls to the Polls 2.0. And then the second, or the fourth piece of that was to protect the vote. So I think that back to the concept of actually having a plan. What's the plan to move them? And let's just pick voting for example. Having a plan. How are we going to make sure that every church, not only are we registering them, that every week we're saying, well, how many we get, to follow up with what we're trying to do. So I think that it's getting together, it's having a plan, and everybody agreeing. And it might not be your plan, or some of the parts of it might not be what you'd like to do, but we see what the goal is moving forward. And that's kind of the challenge that we have, right now. And the problem we have right now, Jesse, time is a ticking. The midterms is on top of us. And so we really need to, coalesce and be focused on this next round of elections and make certain that our vote counts. And in 2028, whoever runs on the Democratic side, we need to hold them accountable. What is going to be your commitment to our community? And, understanding that we are challenged in more ways than other communities are not. When you look at the average median income for Indian Americans, it's $100,000. For Filipinos, it's $83,000. For Chinese, it's $69,000. For Indonesian Americans, it's $57,000. Our average income is still $35,000. And so, as the president, how are you going to talk to that and help us through those issues? So, again, it's not impossible, but I think that time's a ticking, and we need to jump on it right away.
A lot of influencers out here, but I don't hear them influencing people to register and vote. I see and have been in enough churches to understand the call to come to the well and to come to the altar. For people who are struggling with all kinds of problems, mental problems, emotional problems, health problems, and they come to the altar to give their lives to Jesus, hoping that a miracle will show up in their lives. And for some of us, a miracle is the Affordable Care Act. Where we're working every day, and at the end of a hard day's work, we ought to be able to afford the ability to go see a good doctor. The miracle, for those of us who can't see, both David Day and I are wearing glasses, we need the Affordable Care Act to include vision.
Yes, sir.
These glasses are expensive. And people who got cataracts and all kinds of stuff like that. We need the Affordable Care Act to include hearing. We need the Affordable Care Act to include dental. Some of us walking around here with no teeth in our heads and teeth hanging out our heads and don't even know we got a dental problem, and you can die from pyorrhea. We need the Affordable Care Act extended, and that is a form of a miracle in your life. And so, Pastor, when we call people to the altar, as we walk them out for their first meeting as Christians, walk them right past the voter registration table, because when it comes back around to it, they're going to have to make a decision that is in their hands in these midterms to ensure that some of their healthcare needs are met and addressed immediately. I'm grateful that David Day, the director of the Emmett Till and Mabie Till Mobley Institute and chairman of the board of 100 Black Men of Chicago, joined us today. David, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jesse.
More on Tenacious Tuesdays and KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Nearly 2 weeks after Black Coral Springs, Florida Vice Mayor Nancy Mateo Bowen was killed in her home, the city commission is meeting for the first time. Commissioner Joshua Simmons says her empty chair will weigh heavily, but she would have wanted the city's work to continue.
We still have a duty to do.
Bowen's husband, Stephen Bowen, is charged with first-degree murder and is being held without bond. A Tennessee man is facing up to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to setting fire to the Highlander Education and Research Center, a historic civil rights site. Prosecutors say Reagan Prater was motivated by white supremacist ideology, and the attack caused more than $1 million in damage. And Usher and Chris Brown are teaming up for a stadium tour this summer. The R&B tour starts June 26th in Denver, hits more than 30 cities across North America, and wraps December 11th in Tampa. Pre-sales begin April 23rd, with general sales starting April 27th. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you need to lose 50 pounds or more and diets haven't worked, you're not alone. West Medical offers physician-guided weight loss consultations to help you understand your options. Most PPO insurance plans are accepted and they verify your benefits for free. Call 1-800-WESTMED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The UCLA women's basketball team had a historic night Monday in the WNBA draft. 5 UCLA players were selected in the first round. No school in the 30-year history of the WNBA draft had that many players chosen in the first round. UConn had the previous high for first-round picks with 4 players selected in 2002. UCLA is also the first school to have 6 players overall selected in the same WNBA draft. Charlize Leger-Walker was a second-round pick of the Connecticut Sun. The record night for the UCLA women's basketball program comes 8 days after winning their first national championship. UCLA's first-round picks: Lauren Betts taken at number 4 by the Washington Mystics, Gabriela Jaquez at number 5 to the Chicago Sky, Kiki Rice at number 6 to the expansion Toronto Tempo, Angela Dukalik at number 9 to Washington, and Gianna Neekins at number 15 to Connecticut. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up!
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're on the phone today with Barbara Arnwine. If you're listening to the show, you should hit the share on your Facebook page. Share the show if you're listening by Facebook. And if you're listening on KBLA or any other of the KBLA social media handles, please feel free to share us with all of your followers and encourage people to follow KBLA. KBLA is an amazing station, one of just a half dozen or so African-American talk show stations in the entire United States, owned by none other than Tavis Smiley, an amazing individual and civil rights activist in his own right. Barbara Arnwine is the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition and is internationally renowned for contributions on critical justice issues, including the passage of Landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the 2006 reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's good to be here.
Barbara, listen here, listen here, listen here. There've got to be a lot of ways to go to hell. Lots of ways to go to hell. And I'm trying.
Where you're going.
I spend a lot of my time trying to stay out of hell, and you can end up in something other than Dante's imagination could have imagined his Inferno. Barbara, but one of the ways I think you can go to hell really, really quickly, if there is any agreement on this, just let me know. Wake up in the morning arguing with the Pope. Barbara, what is wrong with the President of the United States in a consistent argument with the Pope? 25, 24. Barbara, who wakes up in the morning trying to pick a fight with the Pope, Barbara?
Because he's mentally ill.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I mean, listen, that report that just came out yesterday about John Kelly, his former chief of staff, saying that he read that book that the psychiatrists had done on Trump, published 6 years ago or by now. And he came to the conclusion after reading the book that Trump had a mental illness.
Well, some kind of psychopath?
This is John Kelly.
But I know
former
John
chief
Kelly's
of
not a
staff.
psychopath, but what is the conclusion of the report? That the president is some kind of psychopath?
Oh, yes. And
A
I have,
psychopathic, narcissistic something or other?
yes, and I recommend people to read the book. But that's significant. That his own chief of staff has came to that conclusion. There's something wrong, folks. Who gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to put out a picture of myself as Jesus Christ? What kind of sick head does that? I'm sorry. I mean, if you are in a church and your pastor puts his face on as Jesus Christ, you got a problem. You're not in a church, you're in a cult. And a misguided, very, very unchristian cult. I mean, who gets up on Easter and writes profanity and threatens the White House?
And bombs people on Easter.
Right. On Easter. And then when you are criticizing the Pope, what do you got to say about the Pope? You got to say that the Pope is too soft on crime.
Wow.
The Pope doesn't have any law enforcement obligations.
Wow.
The Pope's not writing any laws on criminality. I mean, it just shows you how confused and how really
The Pope didn't pardon the January 6th rioters. You did.
You did. Right. I mean, it's just a tremendous example, but then threatening to eradicate an entire civilization.
That part.
That is illness. That's mental illness of the highest degree, because that's genocidal, folks. 93 million people live in Iran. 93 million live in Iran. Let's be very clear. It's one of the oldest civilizations in the world. And you're crazy behind. During your 4 little years of being president, you're going to decide that you're going to, quote, nuke them, because that's the only way you can eradicate a civilization. You're going to nuke them. Remember, when people were saying the most dangerous thing about Trump is that he would have access to the nuclear codes, people said, oh, don't worry about that. That's just ridiculous. You guys are going way too far. That's just leftism, extremism. And now here he is, without any provocation, just on his total own. And then he's got little boy out there, little boy J.D. Vance. He done, I mean, oh my God, did you see Lawrence O'Donnell last night? Woo! And Rachel Maddow last night. They trolled him bad. They pointed out how Trump has been sending him on all of these worthless failure missions that were designed to fail, folks. Folks, if you're in a major war, who ever heard of resolving it in 21 hours? Normally, peace talks take weeks, at least a week, not 21 hours. That's not even a full day. And this man goes to Pakistan and he leaves in 21 hours about failure. That's not a negotiation. That was a snap. He just came in for a quick snack and got out of there. Folks, and it makes him look like a failure. And then who did he send to try to prop up Orban? Viktor Orban, who we all know is nothing but an old dictator. 16 years of rule, most of it illegal, where he, tried to change all the voting and all the other, democracy institutions so that he could just be a dictator with unchecked power. He sends J.D. Vance when the polling was already showing that Victor was losing bad.
And his real estate buddies.
Yes.
People who've never negotiated anything. He sent J.D. Vance, who doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know his from a hole in the wall, right? And now he's doing his thing. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More with Barbara Arnwine on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pacoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Junior Show. King Polly Polly drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Currently, she also serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Votes Matters convenings, and the Voting Rights Act Alliance. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's great to be here.
Barbara,
Thank you for having me.
in the last segment, you suggested that Trump would end a civilization, which he said he would do by 8 o'clock one day last week. It did not happen. He withdrew that, and you said that he wanted to nuke them. That is the only way to end a civilization, and that's
Right.
absolutely true. And let me share with you this. This is not the first time that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has suggested that he wanted to use the bomb. I believe this president wants to use the bomb. He's looking for the right moment to use the bomb unilaterally as the final salvo to demonstrate his power. Oh, Jesse Jr., you've gone too far. You have no evidence that Trump wanted to use the bomb. But according on August 26, 2019, Axios, Trump floated the idea of using the bomb to stop a hurricane.
Right. Remember that bad?
Multiple occasions. A hurricane ain't never done nothing to him. He's madder at Iranian leadership, many of which he and the Israelis have taken out.
Yes.
He talks about them every day and tweets about them every 10 minutes because he is capable of using the bomb. So when he said he wanted to end a civilization, we have intellectually within our right to draw the parallel between his desire to use the bomb as someone who is clearly struggling with a mental illness and what he has said previously about nuking a hurricane. But what does emerge that is crystal clear, whether it's threatening to use the bomb to stop a hurricane or threatening to use the bomb to end a civilization in Iran and take their oil, is that above human beings and above people, real estate and property matter to the President of the United States. And to protect property, including that which a hurricane might strike, the President of the United States has floated the idea of blowing it up with the bomb. Barbara, does that make sense to you?
No, you know that makes zero
That's what he
sense.
did, right? That's what he said.
You know, we're dealing with some Mickey Mouse brain here. People, come on, people. The Economist, I was just looking at a headline from the Economist. Now, Economist, folks, is not left-wing, is not liberal, is not central. It is, a right-wing kind of publication, but they have an article right now talking about the threat of nuclear war because of our crazy president. Folks, we have to understand the time we're in. We're dealing with somebody who has demonic tendencies. He's not just deranged, but he's taken that derangement into his demonic state. Because only a demon thinks it's righteous to kill children and whole families and whole populations. That's a demon. That's not some kind of errat or wrongful leader. That's just somebody who is demonic and hateful and disregard and we know he's sacrilegious. All of these things. The bottom line is that there is something called the 25th Amendment. And a whole lot of people, and where you used to sit in Congress, are saying, it's time. It's time. And folks are saying, well, the cabinet, but it's time. This man has done everything to endanger not only those of us here in the United States, but he's also endangered the entire world. How do you say that you want to bomb the heck out of Iran because of the Strait of Hormuz, because they got a quote blockade? Now you're going to do your own blockade. What kind of sense does any of this make? It's illogical. It's nonsense. And folks, this is our leader. This is the person who the world sees as representing me, you, and everybody else in the United States. It's a tragedy. And while we're at it, let me talk about his wife for a minute. Melania. When they said Melania was going to have a press conference, I said, okay, probably she's going to say something like, I spoke to my husband and I have urged him to not write any more of these crazy emails. I told him that, we got to be humane about what we say to the world, or that I'm just here to let the women of the world know that I'm here with you. I stand with you. So what does he do with her press conference? It's not about the madness of her husband. It's not about anything but herself. How selfish, how egotistical can you be? You talk about narcissism in the president. You got narcissism in your FLOTUS, in your first lady. I mean, I was so disgusted with that press conference, and that she used she abused her platform to talk about herself. This is outrageous, folks. We got two totally unworthy people. Can you imagine Eleanor Roosevelt on doing a wartime speech of her husband going on national TV talking about herself? She never would do such a thing.
I think that the president of the United States has a dysfunctional administration. That's putting it mildly, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
I think the First Lady's speech, please comment on this, Barbara, was kind of off the script of what the president is trying to public relations-wise manage.
She single-handedly put the Epstein files back into national and international conversation because of her selfishness. Everybody said, okay, he's doing this war because he's wagging the dog. He's, trying to get away from, anybody talking about the Epstein files. So he's come up with this whole war thing. So everybody's just talking war. And she gets up there and says, Epstein, Epstein, bold, loud, and clear. Epstein, I had nothing to do with him. I didn't know him. I didn't know no Ghislaine Maxwell. All of these lies, and people are like, it's just a lie. Here's pictures of you, and here's letters that you wrote. Here's emails. What are you talking about? And so it was just. You're talking about something that was surprising. That was the surprising part. The part
Barbara,
that she was heartless and talked about. Said to the women that they got to go testify for Congress. She'll put up, shut up, that kind of attitude that she displayed. That's consistent with that kind of narcissism.
Barbara, let me pivot for a moment. You've been instrumental in the leadership of the No Kings marches.
Yes.
And I'm very impressed, as I've shared with you previously on these Tenacious Tuesdays, with how the marches themselves have begun to take on the character of contemporary issues. And we're not just on the first march now, we're on the third, heading in the general direction of the fourth.
That's right.
Is there any pivot from the leadership of the organization to move the No Kings participation or movement into a massive voter registration drive as people return to their homes from around the country for the large marches? But also the marches I saw, for example, in Atlanta, in the Carolinas, where they were just spontaneous with groups of 50 and 100 people standing on a corner.
Love it.
Is there any signal that can be sent to them that they need to knock on their neighbors' doors and make sure they are registered to participate in the midterms?
There are two major mobilizations coming up, people, that you should be aware of. One is on May 1st. May 1st is the closest thing to a general strike our country will see. It's no work, no school, no shopping. No work, no school, no shopping. All over the country. That's what we're asking every single American to abide and to do.
So those three things shut the economy down, theoretically.
That's right.
They shut the economy down. But on those days where we don't do those things, can we register people to vote?
Hold on, I'm not finished. Come
Okay.
on now, let me finish.
All right.
I'm talking about the first mobilization. And during that mobilization, there will be massive voter registration and voter outreach. During that, in fact, that's, a start at May 1. And also on that day, be very clear, people, that is also May Day, that's Law Day. And so lawyers all over the country are going to be standing up and reaffirming their oaths as lawyers all over the nation on the same day. But get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready for John Lewis Good Trouble Lives On. 3 days, an entire weekend, beginning July 17th, all through July 18th, all into Good Trouble Sunday, July 19th. We're doing nothing but one of the largest voter education and voter registration drives ever in the United States. We want to be as bold as John Lewis. We want to be as bold as Amelia Robinson. We want to be as bold as everyone who stood on that Pettus Bridge. And we're going to demand that in this time that we have a real democracy and that every single human who's capable and eligible to vote in the U.S. Does so. So we are really seeking that, and we will be running. We're going to be teaching. We have teach-ins and registration and all kind of voter education on the 17th. On the 18th, we're going to have mass rallies and all kind of canvassing and voter registration all day, all evening long. On the 19th, the churches are taking over. And all these religious institutions will be running voter registration, voter education drives, check your registration drives. So that's what we're working on right now. That's what I'm spending all my time on. It is gearing up. John Lewis Good Trouble Lives On, because we can't wait and have people trying to register in October. We need you to register as early as you can, because last cycle, millions of people who registered never got to vote because the states were slow in processing their voter registrations and said, too bad, too late. And people were like, well, wait a minute. I submitted it before the deadline. They said, we were just too overburdened. We didn't have enough staff. We couldn't get around to you. So too bad. Folks, you don't want to be caught in that. You want to make sure that your vote is not only cast, but counted. And so we need you to register early. We need you, if you're going to try to vote by mail, we got to educate you to how to do that correctly. Because that's the big thrust of a lot of their work. It's not only the citizenship nonsense, but also they're trying to get rid of vote by mail or discount and not count as many vote by mail ballots as possible.
Barbara, we have a little less than 2 minutes, and I'm going to probably have to ask part of this question in the second segment after we come forward. I know the strength of the No Kings movement in the blue cities. We've seen that. We've seen the strength of the No Kings movement in the swing states. Is there activity in the red states on the scale that we're seeing in the blue states? Are people moving away from the cult of Donald Trump and MAGA?
Get ready. Get ready for this stat. In good old state of Mississippi, there were 25 No Kings rallies and events and actions. Wow. That's just in Mississippi. One thing that was beautiful is that this No Kings, we had 300 different events that happened. We had 8 million people in the streets. But what was beautiful is that we had at least one or even two or more activations in every single congressional district. Every single. I didn't just say Democratic. I said every congressional district. And what was beautiful is we saw a huge growth in rural populations coming out and doing No Kings. So No Kings 4, we're working on. After John Lewis Good Trouble, after we celebrate the anniversary of the Voting Rights Act in August, then we move into No Kings 4.
We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A strike is no longer happening in Los Angeles schools. Black Mayor Karen Bass announced Los Angeles Unified School District and Service Employees International Union Local 99 reached a tentative agreement overnight, avoiding a walkout by about 30,000 support staff.
Dedicated workers care for our children every day.
Other school unions also reached deals so schools across the district will stay open. The New Orleans City Council is voting on whether to keep Ivy Waste Handling trash pickup in the French Quarter through 2027. The company won a legal fight last year against Henry Consulting, the contractor preferred by former Black Mayor LaToya Cantrell's administration, but a pending lawsuit could still reopen the door for another contractor. And France may block rapper Kanye West from performing there after the UK barred him from entering. Officials are reportedly trying to stop his planned June 11th show in Marseille, with the city's mayor also speaking out against it. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you need to lose 50 pounds or more and diets haven't worked, you're not alone. West Medical offers physician-guided weight loss consultations to help you understand your options. Most PPO insurance plans are accepted and they verify your benefits for free. Call 1-800-WESTMED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Luka Doncic will rejoin the Lakers on Friday after spending a week in Spain to get special treatment for his hamstring injury. The Lakers remain uncertain if Doncic will be healthy for the first round of the playoffs against Houston. The NBA leading scorer was hurt April 2nd at Oklahoma City. The injury was diagnosed as a grade 2 strained hamstring. No change in Austin Reeves' status. Reeves is still expected to be out the next 5 to 6 weeks with a strained oblique muscle. There is a bright spot for the Lakers during this injury crisis. The Lakers are heading into the playoffs with a very efficient and productive LeBron James. Since Doncic and Reeves got hurt, LeBron is averaging 25.5 points, 11 assists, 6.8 rebounds, and 2.5 steals. He was voted Western Conference Player of the Week on Monday. It looks like the 41-year-old LeBron is ready to put the Lakers on his back in the postseason. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Big Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
I need a little range, step to the range,
There's a new flavor in town, the Jalapeno Ranch Club at Chick-fil-A. With that juicy Chick-fil-A original spicy or grilled chicken, a buttermilk ranch bun, candied bacon, pepper jack cheese, and jalapeno ranch sauce. It's got big ranch vibes with a little heat. Chick-fil-A's new Jalapeno Ranch Club, available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Can we just talk? You've heard me say it before, how we talk to one another matters. Earlier this year, we launched our first cohort, and I'm grateful to those who leaned in early and helped to shape the work. Now I'm inviting you to join me for a new live seminar, The Practice of Dialogue, Becoming a More Effective Communicator. This is a small group experience designed to help you strengthen how you communicate in your work, your relationships, and your everyday life. Space is limited to keep the experience personal and interactive. So if you're ready to take your communication to the next level, now is the time to focus on the skills that make conversations meaningful. The new 4-week cohort begins Monday, May 4th, and there's a nice discount for early bird registrants. Visit TavishTalks.com to learn more and reserve your place today. That's TavishTalks.com, because better conversations don't just happen, we practice them.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine on this Tenacious Tuesday. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
It's great to be here.
Barbara, just before you share with us how we can support you, we can't get to all of the places all over the country that you travel to on a weekly basis, but we can be there through you. And I think you're a fantastic representative. But just before you share with us how we can be supportive, I would like to get your take on the brinksmanship in the Hormuz Strait, its consequences, and any updated thoughts that you have on the Voting Rights Act and the Calais decision. What's going on, Barbara?
Okay, on Calais, they have not announced a decision day. There will be nothing this week, probably nothing next week. The court has announced nothing regarding any decisions to be issued. So that's more and more delay. It's looking more and more like they're going to release this decision in late June. But we'll see. This court is capable of any kind of wickedness, and sadly, it's
Barbara,
some terrible decisions.
Barbara, would you be disappointed if the majority decision in Calais were written by Clarence Thomas?
Oh, I'd be devastated. But the word on the street is that Alito has it. And also, you saw the other word on the street, right? Is that they are pushing Alito to resign so that his replacement can be done prior to the midterms, because they're not sure they can hold the Senate. So they're trying to convince Alito to resign now. I mean, will resign soon. So that's the other big headline that came out today, folks, in case you missed it. I have a question for you.
Yes.
If I may.
Please.
Tell us, have you ever met Pope Leo? I never met him.
I've never had the privilege of seeing the Pope, of meeting the Pope, and if I would have had the opportunity, it probably would have been at a baseball game here in Chicago. Because I understand he was a great fan and a regular.
Yes.
That is just evidence of an ordinary guy,
right?
Been called to do something extraordinary.
Yes.
And make no mistake about it, the pride that we have as Americans, not only in his elevation to the pontificate, is overwhelming, but to see him stand up against world powers, including the power of this particular president. In fact, I believe, and I was told by our producer, that Donald Trump said earlier today that, oh, boy, this guy he's really, he says that the Pope was elected because of him.
And I tell you, folks, 25th
And there may be some, there may be
25th
some truth in
Amendment. I'm
There may
teaching
be some-
everybody out there. Write it down. 25th Amendment. That's gonna be.
Well, I can see the Cardinals coming together and saying, for such a time as this, we need somebody with the moral authority to challenge what's going on in the world order led by this guy, and it needs to be someone who can keep the smoke on the president. I mean, I can see that. So, yeah, it's funny on the one hand, but, you know, we saw in that movie Conclave, and I saw in The Shoes of the Fisherman with Anthony Quinn.
That's a great movie. That's a
very,
great
very
movie. That's a great movie. You know, I just want people to be very clear that the Pope, you know, his obligation is to speak for what? World peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for brotherhood among men. It's absolutely unthinkable you're going to get a Pope up there talking about, let's go to war. You know, let's annihilate a civilization. Yeah, that's what Christ stood for. But you're not going to get that, folks. And I really believe, and I know I'm in a minority, but I believe that had the Pope not spoken up, we might have been looking at some absolutely outrageous atrocities against civilians in Iran. So I'm very glad that he used his position, knowing that he was going to get some blowback from this particular president. Nevertheless, he felt morally called and he stood up. That's what we want everybody to do. When we talk about, you know, I spoke about Good Trouble Lives On. Everybody listening, you could be part of that. That's not just for the activists, the organizers, the unionists. It's for all of us, including every individual. If you've never ever walked out your door and done something, this is your opportunity. If you want to do it from bed, you can you can help make calls. There's all kinds of things you can do. Folks, we need you. So go to tjcoalition.org and sign up. Go to tjcoalition.org and sign up. We're going to have so many partners. If your organization wants to partner with us, write us. tjcoalition.org. Go to our website, write us, talk to us there. And because we want you to be part of this fight. If you are in the following states, I'm going to give you 9 states. If you live in one of these states, or if you have family, friends, colleagues in any of these states, listen to me. We need you to talk to them as soon as you can. Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Hampshire, Ohio, Florida, and Wyoming. If you are in any of those states, people, you need to understand that your state is one of the states that has passed their own SAVE Act, requiring that citizens, that people show that they are citizens before they can register or re-register.
Wait a minute, Barbara. You're saying these 9 states want people to show up with a passport?
Yes, and a birth certificate or a birth certificate. And and some of them are worse than the others regarding what you got to do when you go to vote and what you got to show when you get ready to vote. Folks, if you are in those states or have family in those states, you got to get active right now. You can't let them be sitting ducks. Don't let them be sitting ducks. Call them and say, are you aware of the new voter registration laws in your state?
So you're saying the participation in these states may be high, but the number of people who actually end up voting may be low because not every American has a passport.
And 21.3 million Americans can't find their passport or their birth certificate. If you ask them to produce it in the next 30 days, they can't. The other problem is that only 50% of Americans have passports. African Americans, you and I have talked about this, 67% of African Americans do not have a passport. 67%, folks, the majority of African Americans, the overwhelming majority, do not have a passport. If you're in the South, 60% of Southerners have no passport. None, zero, they nada. It is, very clear what they're trying to do here. And I want people to understand that this is extremely dangerous. And some of these crazy states have talked about passing laws requiring everybody to re-register so that they can knock out the electorate. This is all about attrition. They want to shrink the electorate. They want fewer people to vote. That's why you need to join us at tjcoalition.org. You can give to us at the same site, tjcoalition.org. We're not playing. I don't do this because it's funny to say. This is, dangerous. And I just want everybody who thinks it's hopeless, look at Hungary. Look at Hungary. They sent the vice president of the United States, had the president live streamed in, talking about how everybody needs to vote for Viktor Orban. And the people of Hungary said, forget about it.
And they lost. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show with Barbara Arnwine, and we are on the grind. More when we come back on KBLA Talk 1580 in just a moment.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
When temperatures climb, LADWP wants to help you stay cool indoors, starting in your attic. With quality attic insulation, your home can stay more comfortable during hot summer days and help lower your energy bills year-round. It's a smart way to save. And for a limited time, LADWP has increased the attic insulation rebates to make upgrading more affordable. Act now to start saving. Visit ladwp.com/attic. That's ladwp.com/attic. From station to stage, LA Metro connects you to the artistic heart of Los Angeles. Celebrate this National Arts Month with Metro, exploring galleries, theaters, and cultural spaces across the city. Art isn't just where you end up, it's how you get there.
For 70 years, the Humane Society of the United States has worked to end animal cruelty. Now, we're continuing that mission as Humane World for Animals, because we work around the globe to care for animals who are suffering today. And we tackle the root causes of cruelty for a kinder tomorrow. We are Humane World for Animals, and together we can make a difference. Help make change for animals. Visit humaneworld.org.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We have here at the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show tested the technology to receive calls, and I'm very excited about when our executive producer and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show rolls out the ability to receive live calls on our program. In the meantime, Daniel DeHonor Mode has 2 questions that he wrote in our live chat, Barbara, that I'd like to ask.
Okay.
He's asking, one, what does ethical leadership look like? And looking at a 25th Amendment emergency.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Daniel, for your question. First of all, ethical leadership means that you make your decisions based on what's best for the people, not what's best for yourself, your pocketbook, your cronies, your friends. You are a statesperson, meaning that you're not just a politician who can be bought. You are a statesperson who wants the best for everyone in your nation, the best possible. So that's ethical leadership to me. The 25th Amendment needed. It shows that even in their worst imagination, people like to talk about the founders all the time. In their worst imagination, they could not conceive of a bunch of spineless cabinet members who would just be a bunch of sycophants sitting around wearing 2 big shoes, ugly little shoes that Trump brought them and told them they had to wear as men. And so you got these men standing around and looking ridiculous in these shoes that he bought. That's sycophants. People, you say, Barbara, what's that word? That word means that all you can do is kiss his shoes. That's all you can do is kiss the ring of the president. You have no other motivation in life. You want to make him happy. You want to make him joyous. So you do whatever he tells you to do. You have no independence, no spine. In fact, there's a beautiful cartoon I saw the other day of somebody holding up a spine and saying to the cabinet, "You need this." So that's the bottom line. Thank you for those questions. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Barbara, let me just say this before we get to your word of hope, and that is this. The ugliest of all forms has to be blackmail.
Yes.
When someone has something on you and they can essentially tether you with strings, and as a puppet, you live the rest of your life dancing to the tune of Geppetto, if you will, like Pinocchio.
Well,
when you have control over the FBI, the intelligence community, when the director of the FBI threatens to release files on your life.
Yes.
When members of Congress who've been surveilled have files on their life held by the Department of Justice. When the intelligence community knows every meeting abroad that members of Congress and others participate in because they're listening. The President of the United States has access to all of these informations, investigations of Supreme Court judges, including those in which he appoints to federal courts, because they all go through an FBI process before they're vetted. And then the president says, I see your problems, but your problems notwithstanding, I want to move your nomination through the Senate. But I know your problems. I know who you are, and you know what the expectations are that I have of you. This is corruption on a scale and at a level that we can't imagine. And there are days, Barbara, when I wake up grateful to God that I'm not in Congress.
Woo!
Because I would have drawn the ire, my freedom, my mind, the way it works, would have drawn the ire of the opposition. I would be with a big target on my back, looking for something wrong that I do, say, or wherever I go, under constant surveillance. Imagine members of Congress, and the silence that you're hearing from them isn't simply because they lack courage or spine. But we have an unusual president who is interested into the sordid details of everyone's life on Capitol Hill. And everyone has something sordid in their life. No person is infallible or outside of the grace of God. But there's something someone has done somewhere that the President of the United States has information on, and he gets to use it when he wants to use it. Barbara Arnwine, a word of hope.
A couple things. Quickly on that courage, fear. People, there's a reason why you have a whole lot of Democrats who are speaking out. I'm just speaking about facts. Elon Musk is the other factor you can't take out of here. All these people are fearing not only any, quote, problems in their backgrounds or scars in their records. What they are worried about is the fact that Elon Musk says he's going to primary them. They don't do what Trump says to do. So that's what that's what they're worried about. I mean, you got to, and my son always reminds me that the biggest bonding in this administration is team money. Team money. It's about all these billionaires and people who just want to get rich. That's why Orban is gone, because that's all he did. He made his country one of the poorest countries in Europe because of all the scamming and all the corruption and all the peeling off and just leeching of the government of treasury. That's who these people are. They're team money. They're no different. So between team money and between those who fear being, primary by Elon Musk, that's what you're looking at. So here's the hope real quick. I just read, good news, folks. Thank you, Maryland. I just read that you just passed the Maryland Voting Rights Act. Come on now.
Amen. All right now.
Come on now.
Let's all move to Baltimore.
Let's do this. Let's do this. That is such good news. You know that Moore is going to sign that act. That Wes Moore is going to sign it so fast. Get ready. The other thing I want to, and congratulations, Daryl Jones, who testified in favor of that act, and all the groups, the ACLU, all the groups who worked on the act. Congratulations. Congratulations to the people of Hungary. You turned out, 85% of you turned out to vote. Even though they had rigged the election system, you turned out to vote and you got rid of a dictator. It's time. It's time, folks. It's time for us to rise again. Thank you so much.
Barbara, glad you were with us today, and thank you for making Tenacious Tuesdays as tenacious as it is. We've been on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and Barbara, thank you very much for that word of hope.
All right. Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next week. More on KBLA 1580 when we come forward. Stay tuned and stay right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.